Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate it so much. Many of you know me as your chess content creator. You go to me for your openings, your recaps, your guess the elo, and everything in between, but I really want to make this big project super successful, the Gotham City Podcast. I'm going to try to expand outside of the world of chess. I will be starting with my first guest, Anish Giri. He is obviously a chess player, but I want to take my life experiences and along with my guest, make that an interesting listening or viewing experience and share it with all of you. I'll be uploading it to Spotify, Apple, all those things, but YouTube gets it first because this is where it all began. Once again, thank you. And please, I hope you enjoy and let me know your feedback in the comments. Here we go. Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Gotham City Podcast. I'm your host, Levy Rozman, international master. And if you're not a chess fan and you're just watching big picture, you don't know what that means. And my guest today, wow, I don't even know how to intro you. Number 6 player in the world, former number 2, member of the 2800 Club, father, husband, 4-time Dutch champion, 2019 champion of Shenzhen Masters, Mr. Dodgy Invitational 2 winner.
Please stop.
Anish Giri. Anish, how do you feel being the first guest?
Thank you. It's an honor, man. It's an honor. I already told you, the moment you'll become the second biggest podcaster in the whole universe after Joe Rogan, I'll be right there saying, first podcast was with me. It's an honor.
Well, that is the goal. It's to have conversations about chess. Obviously, my biggest inspiration on that front, Ben Johnson from Perpetual Chess. But yeah, I have to say making videos about chess has gotten not stale, but I want to talk to people, and I wanted to talk to everybody's favorite super GM, I think. Probably, I think you're my favorite super GM. I think.
Thank you.
I think the same.
Fortunately, there aren't too many. Yeah.
How many are there? Well, first of all, there's a campaign to make the title. What do you want that, or you don't think it's necessary?
Well, I mean, as long as I get it, I want that. You always want that, but I don't think it's necessary. You've got the rating, right? So that already you can already just. I mean, if you want to be elitist, you've got the rating already. You don't need an extra title. But sure, possible.
Grandmasters on Twitter talking about the title and talking about the fact that it's the ultimate goal, and now the Super GM title makes it the Grandmaster title, not the highest thing, but luckily I'm not even a Grandmaster, so I don't really need to think about that. So here's the story. It's episode 1. I literally have a giant sticky note thing of what I wanted to talk about. I cannot tell you how I have never been this nervous, just so you know. I didn't tell you this before we went live. Mostly because I've spent my life watching chess interviews and watching interviews, and it's either really good or really terrible, right? Like chess journalism, the same questions.
Yeah, I know.
So I know that I want to get some good information out of you, but I don't want to repeat everything that you've been asked. So on that note, let me just repeat what you've been asked maybe 2-3 hours ago in an interview. You just finished the World Cup, which was an over-the-board tournament in Sochi, Russia. I wanted to get your thoughts. I don't want to say what your experience was like, because obviously when you get knocked out in the second round against Nodirbek, the first thing that goes as a question there, isn't that like one of the worst second round opponents to have? I mean, because it's a young guy who got incubated for a long time. His chess strength is higher. What's the story there?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously underrated, like literally. I think all the kids who haven't played for over a year over the board, they must have gained about 100 elo rating points, I guess, on average.
Really? Like 27-30 strength?
Okay, that's maybe too much, but let's say it's hard to say, but basically he's underrated. He's, I think, 26-30. He must be underrated there, but at the same time, I mean, we speak here World Cup. If you want to win the World Cup, I mean, you should be able to get past a talented kid or two. So we shouldn't also exaggerate. And I did have a chance to warm up in round 1. I played well there. So I didn't feel that would be a big issue. And of course, it was a big challenge for second round to beat a talented kid. But if I had to get far, I had to win like a bunch of matches, like 5-6 matches. So I should have been able, but at the same time, you just need to be lucky as well, a little bit here and there, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I heard you say that, and that's also the storyline of the pandemic, which is the fact that you can sit on your knowledge and gain more of it personal example, not me personally, but I know of people who started the pandemic 17, 1800, they play an under 2300 section and they almost win it, which is insane. That's like 500-600 points. So definitely it's pretty terrifying to be playing in the United States, particularly because we have all these talented kids. I'm sure the same goes for India, because now we see how they all just went to Serbia and,
for sure,
won everything. Only other thing I was going to ask you about the World Cup, you did play one over-the-board tournament, right? Or one? Tata Steel?
I played, no, I played quite a little bit for modern standards. I played a lot, you could say. I played Tata Steel. I also played the candidates. And I played in Bucharest.
Oh, that's the one I
and
forgot.
And in Zagreb, Rapid and Blitz over the board as well. So I played relatively a lot. So that was not an issue. For example, my good friend Vidit, he didn't play at all from beginning of the pandemic, because in India, of course, it's a lot harder and the travel is a lot longer and everything. So he didn't get to play at all, but he did much better in the World Cup. So I don't think it's just, how I see World Cup. I mean, let's be real. How I see it. I see it like that. Or chess in general, but particularly the World Cup, because it's knockout, is like doing a coin toss. But let's say if you are stronger than your opponent, let's say it's like throwing a dice, and out of these 6 numbers, 4 numbers are yours.
Okay.
But 2 others are that of your opponent. So you throw the dice. The odds are higher that you win, but there are the odds that you lose. So I threw that dice. I think I had good odds in tiebreak, but the dice fell wrong. And of course I made mistakes and so on, but it's always like that. You always make mistakes. That's how you lose in chess. You always make mistakes.
Actually, I realized I was going to ask you one more thing about it, but not from the tournament standpoint, more like big picture. But we'll talk about World Championship and form and all these things later. But the question was going to be, for those that don't know, the World Cup is big and exciting and a cooler and sexier version of chess, because you get to see all these different upsets. And but it's very strange, because the people who make it to the end of it are supposed to make it to the candidates. I personally don't know how I feel about the fact that Magnus Carlsen gets to participate. I'm on the side that I don't think he should be participating, because it's kind of strange to determine your own opponents, even if some of the players he gets matched up against might have not made it to the finals. But then I've been hearing all this stuff like the tournament attracts more sponsors and more money and things like that if he plays. Can you shed some light on that? Does he have to play to make the tournament bigger? Or
it's a very complex topic. I mean, on one hand, also, like, do you take all this World Championship cycle as something sacred? Like at the end of the day, also, like, who really cares in some way? I mean, whoever qualifies to candidates, if the strongest players don't qualify at some point, that's okay. Also, you can argue for, if you want to become world champion, you want to claim that you can beat Magnus Carlsen. Why can't you beat him in the World Cup as opposed to beat him in the match as well? So you've got that as well. And as for sponsors, I mean, I'm not sure. Sponsors, I think interest. Yeah, like the easiest way to say. Of course, there is more interest in a tournament where Magnus participates. And as for sponsors in this particular World Cup, okay, let's be real. It was in Sochi, and I am pretty sure the sponsors were, they were not gained by the commercial attraction of it, but more through the connections that FIDE president is Russian at the moment, and they have their own equations there in Russia with the sponsors, with companies. It's quite complex, but I think that the way you gain sponsors is just different there than how you imagine it in the West. So I think the tournament was anyway going to have that sponsor, regardless of who would play. But just really a question of how you see it, and there are good things for sure. I mean, it is still exciting now for me as a spectator. It's great to see Magnus play, of course. You could argue, you could have a World Cup as a tournament independently from the cycle, right? Just a World Cup on its own, and have Magnus play there and everybody play there, and the winner would be the winner of the World Cup, which is like a thing. And you could stage an alternative qualification for the candidates. But I mean, I'm not too strict on that, on those debates. And the road to the world title is very long, very hard. You have to be really lucky to get there. So I think if you tweak the format a little bit, your odds might improve a bit, but finally you just have to really play well and just get really lucky, because to become a world champion, unless you are by far a better player than everybody else, for someone like me, I have to really work hard and hope that things work out. And I need to peak at the right moments and all that. So I'm not too concerned with formats. I'm just doing my job pretty much.
Okay, that was that puts that subject to rest. We'll talk a little bit. I had some questions for you about World Championship and all that stuff, but I mean, speaking of the cycle and trying to become the world champion, this whole next part on my little post-it note is life of a super GM. So first things first, you crossed 2,700 10 years ago in 2000, which is unbelievable. That is crazy.
I didn't know I existed 10 years ago. That sounds like such a long time ago.
Well, I had to do my compiling of info. You also joined Twitter 10 years ago, by the way, so...
Wow, it's a bigger milestone even. Yeah.
I think in 2011, February. Right after you beat Magnus for the first time, January 2011 is when you joined Twitter. Was that specific? Was that on purpose?
That sounds funny. No, I somehow recollect my dad being involved in that. He made me some account.
For exposure? Like to get your name out there, or just...
Doesn't sound like something my dad would do, to be honest. Maybe somebody told him. It's a good idea. That it's a good idea. I honestly don't know. I have to ask him. I recall something that he made me account, and he told me that this is your password, this is your account. At the time, he was helping me a lot with all my, all my travels and arranging stuff. I remember I just didn't know like where I have to go, because I had such a busy schedule and I had no clue. And he would tell me like in 2 days you go there, in 2 days you go there, and I had so many tournaments and like simultaneous exhibitions and trainings and all kinds of trips. So he was helping me a lot, and he created me this account. So it was a coincidence. I mean, it got out of hand, but at the time it was not intended to.
I was going to ask you about that actually. You saying simultaneous exhibitions, so it was a balance of competing at tournaments to gain points, victories, career experience, but simuls to make money as a career, or?
I think that at that time, I sort of, we didn't like think of it too much, but I mean, you at the start, you take opportunities, you don't take them for granted. Yeah. So and you also don't really think that refusing is an option, I think at the time. So whenever I was getting invited to do a simultaneous exhibition, it's not like I did all too many. I had a period when I did a few. I was doing it, and I guess if you start thinking about why, I mean, I don't think there is much other incentive than financial incentive, but it was not with the purpose to like. But I was just invited, and I thought, I don't know, I just thought that's what people do. And I still think it is. I mean, that's what chess players do. They play tournaments. Sometimes they give some simultaneous exhibitions. Sometimes during podcasts. I mean.
Well, I mean, I think nowadays life is a bit strange and a bit different. It's interesting to hear this stuff because I'll be honest. Okay, in 2011, I'm not even sure I was 2,200, and I'm 15, 16 years old. So I was the number 2 ranked 12-year-old in the United States behind Daniel Naroditsky. That was 2,000 ELO, which is nothing. I mean, now 12-year-olds are grandmasters, although that caused some controversy, and the New York Times had something to say about it. It's just interesting. I mean, I don't ever remember a time in my life where you top guys were so accessible, and it's kind of weird because you just told me that you didn't even think twice about, I'm playing in tournaments or I'm going to simuls. When you think of the top people in a sport, I mean, football, basketball, I don't, there's not that much beyond training and competition, right? It's like what you do all day. So
but for sure, I understand. But I think that it started off earlier than, it started when I was not yet a top player. So I think my sort of first big media appearance maybe was when I became a Dutch champion, I think. The youngest Dutch champion at the time, I guess, and probably still. I was 14, and yeah, that was something. And I guess after that, I got a few invitations, and yeah, I mean, I just thought that that's what you do. Of course, you could argue, looking back, that I mean, you can, of course, just focus only on playing and training. But in general, and I guess we'll get to these subjects at some point as well. I mean, it is on paper good to all the time just train and do everything for your results. But at the end of the day, we are all humans, right? And you need to balance things a little. I don't think you can make sort of some kind of a chess machine out of yourself and just train, play, and nothing else. I think that would be too exhaustive, not only in terms of getting tired, but also exhausting a little bit your I don't know, mental and spiritual and emotional capacities. You want to do things in life, right? You don't want to just be a soldier that does one thing and that's it.
I don't know. I would argue that, and I don't know if this is right or not, but I would argue that before the last year and a half or maybe 2 years, super grandmasters weren't particularly human. I mean, we see you guys barely.
Okay, just because we take pictures of what we do now, I mean, doesn't mean we didn't do these things before. And
yeah, but we know nothing about you. So,
yeah, of course. And you think probably Fabiano is sitting in his cave looking at chess all the time. But believe me, while I'm on Twitter, he is on Snapchat and in his Instagram DMs, and he's wasting at the very least as much time as I do, just in a more discreet ways. And I mean, top players I know, they're just like regular people, except that some choose to be more public about it and some choose to be a little more discreet.
Well, I would dig that Instagram DMs comment, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Let the audience ponder. Well, you only named Fabiano. I mean, Fabiano's...
No, because I thought he was like the most example of like the one who is the least into social media, right?
Yeah. Well, what do you know about Lenier Dominguez? He's not...
Okay, he has some kind of a Spanish... Facebook page, maybe. I see some Lenier Dominguez, big Spanish posts sometimes.
Well, I'm trying to stir up some conversation versus the top guys, and I'm also trying to fight the autofocus on the camera. But no, I mean, this is all I meant, is that now we can see you guys. Well, we have got the entire Olympic team of India talking about B3 on Twitter now. I mean, we have all these events. So I guess the way to bring it all back together would be how good is life as a super grandmaster, particularly yours. I mean, do you have a dream life? Do you have what are your biggest difficulties other than, okay, I want to get even stronger, in chess but
yeah, no, for sure, it's a very privileged life to have. You're doing what you love, and you don't have to worry about much else, for sure. At the same time, life's complicated for people, and it's like, it's not so there are many aspects to it. And okay, right now I'm really happy and everything's great, but being a chess player, for sure, as a job, and being able to compete at the top level, that is of course a privilege. I think many kids start out playing chess and they love it, but at some point they have to take a rough decision, that, okay, it's great, of course, but they have to get their stuff together and get a job, study something, get a job, and make money. But if you are able to continue that passion you had for chess as a kid and move it forward and make a job out of it, I think that's of course a privilege. And but at the same time, I never. Yeah,
I was going to say, some of us did that, just not in Tata Steel.
For sure, there are different ways, but I guess in the same way, I'm sure you love what you do as well. So yeah, if you can manage to make work out of your passion, I think that's a great thing.
So there is an interview of you with Sagar on Chess Base India, the evolution of Anish Giri. You guys should go check that out. It's on YouTube. It's 2.5 hours. It's basically like your whole life. I mean, obviously, I saw it before, but I wanted to watch the entire thing, and I didn't want to ask you anything super repetitive. But for those that don't know, you're born in St. Petersburg. You lived between ages 8 and 13 or 14 in Japan, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably 13. Yeah.
So how did you just cultivate? Japan is not a chess country at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Actually, I think people there, there would very much be, I mean, there would be many chess players, and there are a lot of chess talent there, but they are all, when it comes to board games, they all go for their, homegrown games like shogi.
Yeah, shogi, right?
And there are a few others. I think Go is also quite popular in Japan as well. So yeah, basically chess is just not a thing you do. Just like in Europe, if you want to do board game, like you don't do shogi, right? You do chess then. And the same way is there, just reversed. So there are chess players there, but it's like weird. The same way it's weird to have, I don't know, to instead of going to a chess club, go to a shogi club in the States. I'm sure there is some club in New York that does shogi, but it's just a slightly weird thing. So just much less people do that. And yeah, in Japan, it was not easy to keep that chess thing alive. I started it in Russia when I was 7.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then you moved immediately. So what happened?
Yeah, well, I spent a year though, and in that year I made a lot of progress. So I got pretty good. Maybe if you translate it to chess rating, maybe we speak, I don't know, 1700, maybe 1600. So I got very, very good at after 1 year. And then in Japan it was very different. But at some point I discovered internet and that you can play online and ICC and all that. So I played a lot of chess at some point, really a lot of chess in Japan.
Okay, so it was even now, like the kids have the internet. That's their biggest asset. Even back then, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit different. I mean, we didn't have internet ourselves. My father's brother had it. It wasn't necessary. Like my father had it at his work, and at home it wasn't necessary. People didn't really use it all too much. But my father's brother had it, and he was also living in Japan. And so I had at some point a routine after school. He gave me his key. The apartment was empty, so after school, I would go towards his apartment, open it, enter with my laptop, play there all day till the evening, then close the apartment, go home, and that would happen pretty much every day. So, but it was normal. I mean, at the time, internet was not like a mainstream thing, and at some point we also got it at our own place. But at the start, it was only for some reason at my father's brother's apartment, and I was playing from there.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if people realize this, given all you've accomplished, but you and I are like a year apart. I mean, a year and a half. I mean, who knows? We might have played on the Internet Chess Club back in the day. I would have loved to know if I was. I mean, I spent my days on the Internet Chess Club as a young guy, arguing with moderators. I was definitely one of these like 10, 11-year-olds who. I would be much more commonplace now, being very hostile and abrasive.
But you still do that, no? Basically, you're still arguing with strangers on the internet.
Yeah, that you know what that is. That has really
nothing
never
changed.
Yep.
Nothing changed.
Yep. I just do it publicly, and I have to. There's a point to which I take it, which is, but it's growing up with. I mean, how did you follow all the top events? Also.
No, that started very late. I remember my very first top tournament that I followed live. That was MTEL Masters, where Kamsky made his comeback. So I think we speak here 2006, maybe. Kamsky just made his comeback, and Topalov won this MTEL Masters. And I remember because there was a thing: if you guess the move, you guess like most of the moves.
Wow!
And you are number one. You get to play simul against Topalov. So I tried it a little bit to guess the move.
Nowadays, you just get like 2 free months on chess.com if you guess.
Diamond membership, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, but it was like all rare new technology thing. But before that, I didn't follow things live, but I read, of course. I mean, I studied a bunch of chess games.
Wait, you were 18?
But only recording.
You were 18 when you followed chess for the first time live?
No. That we speak 2006. I was 12.
Oh, six.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I did the math wrong. Okay, 12 makes a bit more sense. But you also became GM at 15, right? So
14, I think. Yeah, 14 and something. Yeah.
And you were never IM because it's a disgraceful title. You just went straight. So why didn't you get the IM title? Money or?
Yeah, I think it was like a long procedure as well, and I think, yeah, like basically it was not like so easy to get it. You have to apply, and it was also costing something, and it's not like we could have afforded, but we also, I already had my first IM norm, I think, was a GM norm as well, so it was clear that I'm close to a GM title as well. So I guess I just went for it and got it right away.
Two of my IM norms are closer to GM norms than IM norms, but that didn't stop me from getting the title.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I wouldn't have gotten my GM title, maybe, but I actually had a title. I had like Master of Sports of Russia, I think. I scored that.
How do you get that?
Yeah, you score some norms as well. I think I had that one, but it's a Russian thing as a kid.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Russia has its own system.
But it's not so big. It's not so big. No, it's like stems from Soviet Union. It's basically no longer really existing much. But I did have the rights for that Master of Sports of Russia, whatever thing. So I guess I felt that I didn't need to be an international master as well. I'll just be national Russian master and then the grandmaster. So. But that worked out fine. I mean, honestly, the way people are obsessed with titles, I mean, you can make a big deal out of it, but at the end of the day, it's just a thing.
It was just two letters in front of your name.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, one thing I didn't get to. I asked you if your life is like a dream life, but what does your life look like? What is it like to be a super? What do you work on? I mean, do you have a minute by minute breakdown? I'll tell you right now. When I was trying to become an international master, just listen to my story. I know you're a bit more accomplished, but I went back to chess when I was about 20, and I just set aside 4 or 5 hours every day, and I just worked on lines I didn't know, and I just repeated them, and I didn't do much tactical training at all, because I was like, I'm going to get the positions I want, my prep, that's what I trust, and I have good instincts. So, okay, and some end games, sure. What do you study? I don't understand, like, what do you even do on a day-to-day basis? I mean, is it just you have your supercomputer and you're digging for content, ideas? I mean, what end games? What do you do, and what does it look like in terms of the training regimen?
Yeah, so I think like for top players, it's a little different, I think, than for many other chess players, because from the start it was different, I think. Like how it was for me, and I think for most other top players, is I got really obsessed with chess early on. And I was just consuming all sorts of chess things, like chess books, just whatever I would be able to get my hands on, pretty much. So chess books and some puzzle books. I would play as much as I can. When I discovered I can play online, I was playing online as much as I could. So you just like, it's not like you or your coach tells you, okay, you do this, that. It's like you're just yourself, like obsessively craving and getting your hands on chess content. And I think it's only possible with that kind of level of obsession to gain this abnormal amount of hours to become a top player. Because I think if you start off as a kid who is a little into chess, and then you have a good coach and he tells you, okay, so this day you do 2 hours of that, next day you do 3 hours of that, and then if you do that, it's pretty good. You're gonna make it as well. You're gonna improve for sure, because chess rewards you with improvement if you put in the hours. But to get, the level of players, or close to the level of players like Carlsen and Caruana and all these top players, all of them, I think they had to spend just abnormal amount of hours. And
how many?
That would be just, I think it's like irrational. I mean, it's way too many. At some point, I don't know, but like, it's not 2-3 hours a day. At some point, like if it's after school, let's say if you go to school, it's all the free time. And I remember my mother was kind of bothered a bit at first, because she thought, okay, how serious can this be? And she started to get disturbed by like how much time I spent reading about chess. And she said that I started to talk to her only about chess. I was like, Mom, I was too small. And I was like, look at this game. It's epic. Do you see this combination? And she could play chess a bit, but so she thought it's getting out of hand. And she was telling me, okay, now she tried to stop that somehow. And she said, okay, maybe Now you have to clean your room. That's okay. I was a good kid, so I cleaned my room. 10 minutes later, I'm back to chess. So okay, wow, okay. 10 minutes off, but he still does chess. So then she says, well, yeah, now you have to, let's say, solve this, this math puzzle. She gave me the puzzles. There are 5 puzzles, 2 minutes per puzzle. 10 minutes later, I said, okay, good, here's you go. So I'm back to chess. And she realized that, it's impossible to stop it. Like she would distract me with something, but I would get back to chess. Like all the free time you have, and it remains that till now. Like it is abnormal how much time I spend, and like it goes through. So it goes like through that daily schedule. Yeah, all the free times. It's like you imagine like a tube, and you put in all the obstacles there that are like all this little like whatever you want. You put like little stones and stick kind of things inside that tube, which are like your life. And then you pour like water through that tube, and you fill that tube up, and water, it will just fill up all the rest. So like, and that's just like, it fills up all the empty time in my life. Like when I'm not on Twitter, when I'm not talking to my kids or eating, then I'm doing chess. So
okay, but hold on.
Yeah,
that was very abstract. By the way, that was beautiful. But I want specifics.
Yeah, so specific, it's like this. I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, okay.
Not like super specific. We don't need like.
Yeah. No, okay. But I start my laptop very early, and yeah, I am on my laptop looking at chess. What am I looking at? You'll probably want to know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, do you have a? Okay, yeah. Today I'm gonna review this line. Today I'm gonna.
Well, what I focus a lot on lately. Well, the big aspect. It's not the only thing, but the big aspect is preparation, right? Because you can anticipate the first few moves all the time, right? And you know what your opponents play. And so since I have a pretty wide opening repertoire, I can choose, right, what I play. I mean, I play the Knight, of course, but besides that, I can play a bunch of things within E4, E5, a bunch of Spanishes, can play other Sicilians. Sometimes and so I have like a bunch of openings I can check, but before you check that, or while you check that, you try to sort of think how it applies in games. So let's say I know I will have a tournament soon, and I know that, let's say, Carlsen is playing there, and I know that, let's say, very likely that he will play now E4, because in his past tournament, he did some great things against Yesipenko, in the Spanish or whatever. Okay. And so then I kind of think, what am I going to play against that? Then I look at the options. I look at his games. I look at the lines. I know already a bunch of things, and I can kind of estimate what he knows from the things he plays. So like basically, yeah, it's basically preparing for your upcoming games and looking at openings. That's a large part of that. And besides, of course, you just enjoy some chess. Like right now, today, I saw by accident that I have a very cool book on rook endgames by Carsten Miller. And I thought like, wow, I forgot about this book. It would be kind of fun to sort of revise some of these things, because probably it's very useful to, from time to time, to revise some theoretical endgames, probably really. And also kind of fun, because, every time you come back to this, like you study these rook endgames, then you have, like, you see a bunch of games, you play a bunch of your own games, and some rook endgames come up in the meantime. And then you come back to that book in 2-3 years, and you are now like a changed man. You've seen like a bunch of things. So now the same things, same examples you read, they resonate differently. So like and the same way, coming back to same openings, it resonates differently with me now. So like, of course, I have seen all the openings now for hundreds of times. Like there is not an opening that apart from Jalalabad Gambit, because it's really Jalalabad, that I haven't studied. Like, I mean, even if I never played the Pirk, I've studied all the lines in the Pirk already a million times. And I come back, but like every time you come back to the same things, it resonates differently because you've had these experiences, you've seen these, you've played these games. Now I've played a couple of games with the Satorov, and that changed the way I see positions in the French. For example, I had a game in the French, and I saw some games of Magnus against Yesipenko, and that slightly changes the way I see some positions. So coming back to the same openings every now and then, like you see things differently. Mm-hmm. So that's a large part of what I do. And of course, otherwise it's just consuming regular chess content. Like I'm checking out latest chessable courses, latest chess magazines, some books I like. I'm watching sometimes some YouTube videos. Most YouTube videos is entertainment, to be honest. It's not really, but sometimes it can be useful. No, in sometimes I can follow some random speed chess championship match going live because it's fun, and it can give me some ideas that could then be used for my chess. But it's not so strict or structured. But I'm definitely trying, of course, to do some useful work. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't waste too much time doing too many irrelevant things. That's for sure.
Is so most people watching practice tactics, at what point does that stop? Because
I think it shouldn't stop. I mean, I have to say, I don't find it that enjoyable. I really enjoy solving studies. But it's like, see, the thing is like, you get a bit spoiled as a top player. You'll really, because you've always been doing what you love and it brought you good results. So you keep doing that. And that makes you get stronger and stronger at your strengths. And you sort of let your weaknesses slightly lag behind. So I'm very good at solving studies and I really like it as well. The tactics, I don't find that particularly entertaining. I mean, to be honest. So, but I do that sometimes, especially when I feel rusty a bit. Sometimes I play a few games online and I feel like, okay, something is a bit off, or sometimes it's not even that maybe the tactics by themselves help me, but just you need that confidence, right? Sometimes you just feel like suddenly you lost some confidence somewhere and you just, or you play some stupid game, you blunder something, and that's like a heavy blow to the confidence, and you want to restore that. And to restore it, you start like, and I remember recently I was feeling anxious before some tournament, some online tournament. I was feeling a bit anxious, like suddenly I was very low on confidence for no reason at all. And I spent like the whole day before the tournament just doing the tactics on somewhere on Lichess, just way too many tactics. But just I felt that was the best thing, like the thing that I could do to somehow save that confidence, like I was just feeling, I don't know, I just felt like felt kind of miserable. So I do that sometimes. I don't love it, but I think tactics is always good because I think tactics, you should do it a lot as a kid, just like going to be your basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you don't do tactics as a kid, I mean, every good chess player starts with an insane amount of tactics, like 1,000 tactics after another 1,000 of tactics. It has to be like a foundation, right? Because these tactical patterns, they have to be deeply ingrained in you. If you don't do that, and if you just start off with other things, I think later on you will like fundamentally be bad at tactics and you will just never be able to recover from that. I know one grandmaster, he's like 2550 or 2600. It's pretty good. But he has like natural distalent for tactics because in his upbringing, he hasn't been doing that. So I think you need that. But after that, I think you can sort of not do it, but it's still good to keep in touch with your tactics for sure.
There was one thing I wanted to ask about before we talked about being a family man, but you're extremely compelling to listen to, and I completely forgot my train of thought. So if I remember it, I will bring it up again. But I think that basically summarizes it, because the truth is, like I said, the way my routine worked when I was trying to get the title from 2200 was like 90% prep. I mean, openings, and I still have the problem where. And I'm not the only player who's 2400 that has this problem. If the pairings get to you 10 minutes before the round, it's a mad dash to figure out what to play. Like, I mean, very, very few people that I know walk into the game, it's, let me check my opponent's openings. Oh, what am I going to play? I want to get to a point where I can be a grandmaster level player and I just show up and it just doesn't matter. It's all there. But
it's never there, Levy. It's never there.
Believe me. It's a facade.
It's never there. Yeah, it's never there. I mean, how much I prepared for these candidates. I prepared like for all kinds of different candidates because they were kept rescheduling it. But it was never even close to enough. Like and the day before I have to play, like I still feel like I'm not well prepared. It's a never ending thing. But I think it's like I don't think that asking me what I do would help you. It's just different. Also, like the way I work on chess is just very different from
No, but it's not.
person. It's not a hobby for me, It's like, I mean,
Yes.
I live chess, Like I'm always thinking about it, like always. It's I cannot sort of convey it by hours or just like I sort of.
Then how
when
did
I
you
go
stay
for a
normal?
walk.
How did you stay normal? I mean, you're the.
No, but I mean, of course, everything else is normal. No, but I think people, I think many people are really into their work, right? Or into hobbies. Just for me, it's like instead of all the hobbies you have combined, it's just one, and that's chess. But I think like if you want to improve, there are so many things you can do in so many ways. I don't think that I am the right person to ask for chess improvement in that sense. And I think it's individual. And I think it's also very hard to self-diagnose yourself. Like you might think that you do too much in openings, but maybe not. Maybe you should just, you're trying to sort of self-diagnose yourself, but it's not so easy. And it's so hard also to evaluate, your performances, because, sometimes you had some stupid game where you blunder something and then you say, oh, I'm bad at tactics. If the guy played some other move, he would have never blundered it and you would never know, right? So it's like, it's like a little bit, it's very hard to, but I think what it comes down to for sure, just doing chess, like the hours putting into the game, that should make you better. So you can work on, and you should work on what you enjoy, yeah, because then you pay more attention, you are more passionate about it.
Well, yeah, I mean it's less about I mean, there's definitely the component of this whole conversation where I'm listening to you say certain things. I'm going, oh, when I start taking it seriously again, which I was hoping to do, I'm actually supposed to be playing a game right now, but I canceled my trip to my tournament because of the whole incident with our home being broken into. So there's that component of it. I'm obviously interested, and for all the collaborations that I've done with Hikaru, I've never sat him down for 40 minutes and picked his brain, and I've not had another conversation with another Super Grandmaster, let alone seen one in person. I think I was 2 feet away from Fabiano at Pro Chess League Finals, but
I think nobody gets closer to Fabiano than 2 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is they had like the barrier there and everything.
No, so, Fabiano, he always keeps people at the distance.
No, I mean, listen, like 80% of the current viewing audience of the chess channels on YouTube. I mean, obviously some have their niche is like between unrated and 1200. So folks just they want to know, they want to hear. It's difficult to obviously spin it back for everybody, but before I was doing all this online stuff, I was a coach of 5 to 12-year-olds. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it is actually funny. It's repetitive for kids and adults. It's not to think in absolutes. I hate endgames. I'm never studying them. I hate tactics. Although you just said you find them boring, but okay, people understand that you're at a point in your career where it's not the most important thing in the world. But I wanted to ask you more fun stuff. Like, for example, you are one of the few people at the top that has a family and children. I mean, there's others, but I don't necessarily know what to ask, because the question you get asked all the time is, oh, you married when you were 20, 21, you had your first child when you were 21, 22. I mean, is it really as crazy as everyone makes it out to be? Or, I mean,
No, it's a matter of culture, really, to be honest. You probably are yourself from a relatively mixed background, right? You're
Russian Jewish. So
yeah, exactly. So you probably are aware of some parts, of Russian culture and the way people live there. But like, for example, if you scroll Facebook, let's say, or not Facebook, but that's already the difference. Like if you scroll Instagram of my Dutch friends, and they have their friends there, right? That they follow. Or, you see like party pictures, all kinds of different pictures. Every couple months, they're different. There's a different girl in the picture, and so on. But for example, if you are like, sometimes I saw my wife scrolling her Facebook, and then like you see all her like classmates, friends, they are married, they have children as well. So there is, it's very normal. The same with Russia. Like my parents were also very young. So I think like it's a culture thing that it seems unusual, I think, in Western, Europe and States. But in Russia and Georgia, it's the most normal thing really to get married in your early 20s and have a kid or two. Nothing out of ordinary there at all.
Two is max, or is the Giri clan gonna? I know the.
No, but I was always but I was always telling my my wife and also my mother before as a joke, because people are always saying like they're always arguing how many kids to have, like in the couple, and like the boyfriend would say I want to have 2 kids, or the girlfriend would say I want to have 4, but like I was always saying that like if you have no kids and let's say you want 4 kids and your girlfriend wants 2, like you should first make 2 kids. That's obvious, because you're both, and then you sort of see, right? Because like 2 you anyway need, even if you want 4. So the same way. I mean, we were sort of taking it one kid at a time. But like the thing is, the way it is, it's like really hard when the baby is just out, and there's so many things to do. Like, and he's also.
Make sure it doesn't die. I mean, it seems
obviously like lots of things that you got to do really, and it's a mess and stuff. But the moment the kid is like already 3, 4, 5, you kind of, it gets kind of easier because he can already even entertain himself a little bit. You don't have to watch his every single step, and then you kind of forget how hard it was, and then you think like, well, okay, why not to have another kid actually? And then you remember like, that was why.
Yeah. Well,
but it's all like, it's how it is in life. Like when you always sort of, you forget things, and it changes, like, it's just sort of life happens basically. And right now it's fun. I mean, with the second kid, it's much more relaxing than the first one, because we know sort of what to expect. And there's much less surprises in that sense. But of course, it's very busy here.
When you're raising the first one, do you keep the stuff? Because you never know if you're going to have a second one? What's the... Or do you have to buy more stuff?
Some of it. Yeah. No, okay, you have to buy... I mean, okay, it depends, first of all, on the kind of situation you have. I mean, in my parents' generation in Russia, it was a tough time when I was a kid. And they would get some clothes from some friends, and like it was really not easy. In that sense, of course, we are very spoiled. We can buy as much clothes as we want and all that. But some things are useful. We have 2 boys now, and I mean some toys we have left, and I mean there are some things like some big like baby bed and baby chair and all that we can still use. We bought some pretty good ones before, so we didn't throw them away. But it's not like you can fully recycle everything. And I mean, as I said, like financially we are sort of doing fine, so it's not a big deal. But I know that for my parents it was different. Also, there were no diapers even. It was a tough time.
Two quick, actually, one quick question. One question that will probably require a longer answer. Why don't the Giris have a family animal? There's no dog, no cat. Is someone allergic or?
Yeah, but I mean, actually, I am a bit allergic to cats and some dogs who have this. I think I'm allergic to fur, probably. So I'm not so much into.
Dander, I think me too, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm also not really a fan, to be honest. I mean, I respect people. I respect people liking their pets. I respect that, but I'm just not a big animal person. And I always have that feeling, these people who have dogs, that they prefer their dog to other people. Like they put their dog ahead of other people in terms of like...
It becomes part of your personality. Anish, I'm not gonna lie, that might be the worst thing about you. I think you're gonna get a lot of...
Yeah, but I mean, no, it's fine. No, I'm okay. I'm just not into very much... I mean, of course, like my sister loves animals, and I'm cool with animals, but
just not in your house.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with other people having it. I'm just not the same way, like, with many things in life. I mean, tolerance doesn't mean that you have to do the things you don't want to do, just that you don't judge other people and you don't disturb them doing whatever they want. And the same with animals. I mean, if somebody loves animals, it's really good for him. But we never had. My mother had a bunch of cats when I was a kid. But yeah, I think I just have an allergy on cats. And to be honest, when you have kids, though some kids like animals, that's for sure. Some kids, as I said, I told you, my sister, she loves a dog, and I think we were having this joke that she can't wait for me to leave the house so that she can get a dog.
Well, my girlfriend and I always joke that so it's the opposite for us. Well, at least in my case, I've always said a few things. First of all, kids, babies, great when they're not yours. When you spectate from a distance, I feel the opposite way about animals. I would much prefer to have a dog than a child, but I'm just currently saying that now. But probably the meanest thing I've ever said is that teaching chess in Scholastic in schools and everything has been the best convincing of using contraceptives ever. I mean, oh my lord. And I imagine that you will raise two wonderful.
And you told me I'm gonna get hate for animals, bro.
Look.
Oh wow. So when you get 1 million subscribers, you get such big balls, yeah?
Well, no, wow. I've said that. See, I say things on Twitch a lot that don't make it to YouTube. This will probably.
So you might cut it out. Okay.
No. I'll include it. I mean, I've probably taught over 1,000 kids chess, and it's rewarding and it's fulfilling, and I imagine you will raise two great sons.
Maybe yours will be smarter.
Yours will be great, but oh man,
yours will be much smarter than those.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But I mean, the worst, I gave them a bunch of simuls. Like, the worst is to have to play chess with kids that don't care and don't want to play chess. Yeah, it's horrible.
So it's better to make the content for people that want to watch it than convince a 6-year-old.
Yes. No, I mean, chess is not for everyone, right? I mean,
speaking of which,
yeah,
that was going to be the other question, because everyone wants to know what is the son at this point. Sons, what are the sons of a top chess grandmaster going to do with their life, or is that not something that you even think about? Are they going to play chess? Will they stop?
No, actually, I wasn't planning to think about that at all, but my son, who is now turning 5 soon, he really kind of got into chess, surprisingly. Like, he's way too small for that. I mean, I didn't start it till I was 6, 7, but he started, and he picks it up way too quickly. Like, I sort of once showed him, like, for fun, how to give mate with queen and rook. And of course, he cannot do it perfectly, because, if the king comes too close to the rook or whatever, he might blunder it. But he sort of realized that the pattern of ladder kind of immediately, and a bunch of other things. Also, I never really bothered explaining him the rules. Like, I thought it's very hard because there are too many pieces, and I know you have a nice video on your channel about that, but for kids, not so easy.
Just about to say that. Very good.
No, I know it's good stuff. But so you've got all these things, and but it's not. There are many of them, and he doesn't have. I thought he doesn't have the patience, and also the knight. How do you explain the L shape until you know the letter L? I couldn't figure out how to explain how the knight moves.
Gallop turn, like.
No, okay, but it doesn't work like this. But you know how he's like, it's much easier like AlphaZero, yeah? You just show him a bunch of times how the knight moves, and he just explains it to himself somehow. So he learned how to play chess by just playing. Like, he played on apps where you can only make legal moves. So he would click the pawn or the knight, and then the app would show dots, and he would click the dots, and the knight would. And it turns out that if you do that a lot of times, you can end up just playing on the board the right way, because then you just know the knight goes to f3 and so on. So he kind of really likes it, but I am I don't know. I mean, there are not so many good chess players out there, so I don't know if he'll be one or if he wants to be one. But he kind of likes it, and he's really small, so I don't know. It's fun. And the other one is like super small. He's just a couple of weeks old. He's just started to sort of look at you and you think that he probably does look at you, not just like through you, but like at you. So
yeah, well, we can wait a year and then we.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit early for things beyond mate in one. I mean, but yeah.
Well, I meant with the one that was just born, you can wait a year. And then
that's what I mean as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. If the biggest thing that I realized when you work with kids who are like 4 or 5 is, and I'm sure you already realize this, but I'm saying this probably more for the audience, is the fact that like learning at home, completely different than tournaments. I met a kid who was the most brilliant 5-year-old I've ever met in my life. I mean, this kid was just off the wall genius. First tournament, first game, loses. Wasn't the same. Just was not the same at all. Like lost interest in the game, anxiety, stress. Yeah, and it's awful because you're supposed to experience those things in your 20s, 30s, 40s.
It's true. I never thought of that. Yeah, you mean it's different actually when you go out there and true, because of course right now he's just playing at home.
Yep.
True.
So
true. Yeah, that as well. Yeah, no, but I mean it's early to say, of course. I'm just really surprised that he's into it because I never bothered much. And so because explained him a bunch of things, of course, but she was never all too pushy about it, but she just likes it. So, but we'll see. Chess, is a good hobby to have for kids. It's really nice that they get to sit on one spot.
Yeah, I think it's actually the best hobby. In fact, I think it's so good it should be mandatory for like 6 weeks in school. So, you're smiling.
And also mandatory subscription to Gotham Chess channel. Well, right after at the end.
Yeah, we could do a chess tournament at the end, and then they can get it. No, I think it's by far.
For sure, nothing wrong with that. Definitely. But some are just really not into it. Yeah, some don't have the patience or the will or interest.
But, I mean,
and then it's kind of funny.
I went to grade school and I had to learn how to cook and how to knit or sew. So like, why? I don't know how to do that anymore. And if I learned chess as a kid, it would have been. Well, I did, but if I learned it in school, that could have also been pretty useful.
If you're on a stranded island and you don't know how to cook, as opposed to you don't know how to play chess, I think you pick the cooking thing.
Okay, so. Yeah, that's fair.
We'll see.
Yeah. That was it about family. I had one big topic, and then I was gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions before we ended. Big picture of chess. So obviously, pandemic just happened. Entire landscape of chess has changed in a year and a half, but let's really say like 9 months ever since Queen's Gambit. How have you felt the effect of it? And just your thoughts on people like myself having platforms that we didn't have a year ago, people that aren't the best players in the world having, I want it all. And are there benefits of sponsorship? Does your income increase? I mean, do you have career opportunities as a result of it or no?
Yeah, to be very honest with you, it must have changed much more for you than it did for me because, I mean, my main obsession sort of was always, the competitive chess.
Mm-hmm.
And on that field, I think things definitely are going in a very good direction. But I think that when it comes to top chess, the effect is much more delayed, like if you're a YouTuber, you see the numbers right away. Right. Like the next day, this Netflix show got into all the media. The next day, your video probably is viewed much more than the previous day. So it's like, but with the top chess, things are like so static. And like there is the World Championship cycle that's more or less the same as it was before.
Yeah,
there are all these big tournaments.
I don't mean to cut you off. That was one of the things I was going to ask you about. Why is the prize fund of the World Championship the same as it was 20 years ago? I mean, am I just naive? Isn't it supposed to? Why does losing the the worst player in the sports league makes more than losing the World Championship match?
Yeah. I mean, when I asked Fabiano at some point at the Olympiad before his previous match, he told me that if he loses, he gets 450,000. I was like, what? Like, is that's like, like I thought it was always $1 million, but like, I mean, there is small deviation. I think now in Dubai it's going to be a bit better. I always felt like sort of the one who qualified to the match should get $1 million. It's like a nice thing to look forward to. Yes, I think it's because these things move slow, but mostly, first of all, players are anyway fine with how it is. Nobody wants to refuse to play. And also, let's be real. If you become a world champion, the whole bunch of opportunities open up, and it's not just the prize fund; it's just so much more, right?
Like, but that's the number one. I mean,
Yeah, no, of course, but that's what I mean. I think that these things are changing very slow. Like we've got all the same tournaments. Like I've had all the same tournaments before, more or less. I mean, there was now, let's say, some sponsors are, but it's like the top chess. It moves really slow. So I think the positive effect of Queen's Gambit is going to have a very long-term effect on top chess. But it's much slower than it is when you are a streamer, let's say, when you're a chess streamer. And I think it was a great thing. But right now, it's not like...
wait, Anish,
yeah.
Let me just cut. I think my Streamlabs might have frozen. Oh, no. Okay, it seems back.
Okay, good.
Okay,
good.
There we go. That was terrifying.
Yeah, no one was
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought...
but what I was saying is basically, yeah, like right now, it's not like my life has significantly changed from before Queen's Gambit. Actually at all. Also, I don't care that much about how many. Also, I haven't been, let's say, focusing on my social media and the YouTube numbers as much as I would have if I was professional content creator. So yeah, for me, it hasn't changed all too much, let's say. But I think in the long run, these things will improve the chess landscape for sure. And I think one big improvement and one big room for improvement is that part where we have more people living from chess, not just the top 10. And I think that is already getting much better. And I think that's where a lot of improvement will happen, and that will be really great. Because, you don't want just the top 10, you want more players to be able to compete professionally. You want more opportunities for content creators, for coaches. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been great. But I, as I said, like right now for a top chess player, I mean, not like too many things changed.
We say that's why I wanted to ask that question, because on the one hand we all say grow the game, and on the other hand I was very curious. I mean, why? Well, we did just get this NBC thing, right? So the World Championship now will have 30-minute portions on NBC, which is cool.
Yeah, but like it's like it's not going to change anybody's life directly. It's like this one of these like things that is very, very, very good, but like slowly, right? Like slowly. I mean, it's not like, yes, you right away cash out that TV time, no?
Yeah, that was kind of it. I mean, unless you have like some, because I asked the question of why it's all been the same for forever, and everybody just kind of goes, "Yep." And it's
no, I mean, it's not so bad comparatively to compared to the things, the money you make. It's sort of, I mean, it would also be strange, let's say, if an average income of a top 10 player is, let's say, 150,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 euro a year, and if one of these top 10 players makes a match, suddenly he makes 5 million. It would also be weird a bit. So yeah. So in that sense, the prize fund seems to me reasonably proportionate. If the loser gets even 500,000 euros, let's say. So, of course, I wish it's bigger for sure, and I hope it will be bigger. I guess it will be bigger, but I mean, it's not bad as it is as well. And things. Yeah, why would it also change? Because a sponsor, you want to put as much as you need to put, right? Why would you put 3 times the money if this money gets you the players already? It's largely on Magnus Carlsen, for example, basically, right? What he wants for the match. If Magnus decides, he says, okay, I don't play for less than 3 million. That's what Fischer did, right? That's how he pulled it all up. So if Magnus wants to pull it up, and if he feels, but probably his manager definitely wants to pull it up, but his manager probably feels that right now there is not enough leverage to push it much higher, but maybe he will at some point. We'll see.
Okay, rapid fire. And then I'll let you go. We had a lot of people ask you a lot of questions. A lot of them I got to, but okay. Number 1, any regrets in your career? Biggest regret? Oh, good. Wow, this is
no, but I'm taking these questions too seriously. No, I don't think I should have regrets. I'm happy where I am. It would be interesting to try and change few things. For example, I think like there were some very impactful events, and where I fell flat, and that left an impact, and I learned from that and I grew from that. But I think if, let's say, I would have avoided falling flat at that time, I would have turned out a different kind of player. And that would be interesting to see where I would land in that case. But I mean, I shouldn't have regrets. I am in a very, very decent spot now when it comes to fighting for the highest title. I'm sort of, I think it's within the reach, and if I work hard and get a bit lucky, I can make it there. So I don't think I have big regrets. But it will be interesting to see, if some results early on would have turned differently, how that would have impacted overall.
I'll actually add to some of these just for myself, in case people are curious. My biggest regret is I quit chess from 12 to 15, basically. I think if I hadn't, and if my parents weren't split and maybe, sat me down, beat my ass a bit to play the game of chess and study it, then who knows where we'd be at. But yeah, you have a fair point. I feel like if you have a position in life where you're at least happy with what's going on around you, then you don't really.
You're afraid also to change a single detail, right? Because maybe it would not get you where you are. So
yeah, one of my favorite songs, and also a good concept, the butterfly effect. Second question. Okay, we're starting really dark here. Okay, everything else is pretty fun. Worst loss, biggest loss of your career, most painful loss.
Okay, maybe the last one I can mention, maybe losing to Grishuk and candidates, because that's probably the closest I have been so far when it comes to World Championship cycle. If I had beaten Grishuk, let's say, somehow, I would have been very close to qualify, probably.
Okay. I to be honest, I can't really. I haven't had particularly many. No. I do have one. I was 4 out of 5 in Millionaire Chess Open with like 2,800 performance, and I lost an equal position to Cordova in the 6th round, and I lost a +5 position to Zharabuch after that. So I could have maybe had my first gym norm. So
yeah, you're doing so well. Yeah, these are some good players.
Yeah. Okay. Which top player is best at video games? Although I think I know what you're gonna say. Maybe I don't.
Fabi had an obsession at some point. Vidit is very good, I think. But okay, Vidit is top 20 right now. Yeah. I think I'll take Fabi is decent. I think Fabi is still decent. He remembers his good old days.
First-person shooter games, this kind of stuff.
First-person shooter. Who do you go for?
I know. I was gonna say Timur has also played some.
But is he really into it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's who I thought you might mention, but.
No. I know that Fabi had a period he was really into video games, and I guess Magnus being so competitive, he can pick it up as well. Who knows?
Have you played chess drunk, high, or obviously there's a banned substance list in chess. I don't expect you to A, have ever violated it, or B, admit it publicly on podcast.
No, but I'm not into these things. But I'm really not into any such things at all. Not connected to chess, just in general. But I have a fun encounter with my trainer once. We were in Sochi actually playing Russian championship under some ages. I was the Russian champion, I think under 12. And on one of the race days, we went up the mountains in Sochi, and there were some grandmas selling wine, and they were letting you taste it. Okay, I was a kid, obviously, like 12 or whatever, and my coach wasn't a kid. So he thought, oh, free wine to degustate. Okay, let me degustate. He started degustating, and there were a lot of grandmas, like 10 of them, each with different wine. So he degustated a bunch of wine. By the time we came down, he was completely drunk, and he told me, okay, he's a great guy, by the way. He said, okay, let's play some blitz. And I was like, okay, I was in general a bit skeptical with him being drunk. I was like, okay, but sir, what's going on? Why are you, why did you drink so much? Like, it's a bit ridiculous. And he said, no. He said, I tell you, if you're drunk, you play much better. I said, okay. And, I was playing on equal terms with him. He was 2,400. I was 2,150, but I was like way trickier and sharp and everything. I was like a very dangerous kid. And he was like a half retired 2,400. or 2350, whatever. So we were of equal.
Half retired.
Retired, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you said the other word.
No. I know the words I should use and I shouldn't use, but he was retired, yeah. So he was just coaching, yeah, full time, didn't play. So we were of equal strength. We played a bunch of training games before, and equal/I'm slightly better. But that day, he played such good blitz. I mean, he was beating me game, and it was so frustrating because I not only thought I should be better than him anyway, but I thought that the fact that he's drunk, should work against him, right? It's so unfair. But yeah, myself, I never had it, but I remember this experience. And, for my trainer, it really did. Like I guess he was slightly afraid of me, like when he was sober, like not afraid of me, but like slightly reserved because, I am sort of tricky and young. But now that he had the confidence, no chance.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying you're not into it. You don't drink alcohol at home, or you?
No, I don't drink. Also anywhere. I just don't drink alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Is there any other like lifestyle dietary things? Are you like vegetarian or?
No. Somebody, by the way, there's like a whole article on some. It's amazing. There's a whole article somewhere. Somebody sent me a screenshot where the guy is making a whole point of how my chess style is reflective of the fact that I'm a vegetarian, and he builds like a whole argument, a whole paragraph on that. But I'm not a vegetarian, so like it's very. But he dissected me completely. He said, yeah, obviously, if you don't eat meat, that's the kind of chess you end up playing. But no, I'm not a vegetarian. I just don't drink alcohol. Yeah, no drugs, and I try to sleep well. I rarely go past my bedtime, let's say, because I really feel like not good the next day, and also I feel a bit bad waking up too late because then, yeah, you miss a bunch of stuff. So it's not like a strict thing, but I really value sleep.
When do you sleep?
Usually around midnight. Around midnight. Yeah.
How often do you get
like
recognized
Cinderella
in public?
Sorry. Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's very hard to say. Like the other day, I was with Aryan, who was my second in Zagreb, and maybe because of your friend, I don't know. But so we were walking down the street, and somebody recognized me, and he was like, "Oh, you're so famous," and I was like, saying, "Aryan, no, seriously, nobody ever recognizes me. It's just a one-time thing. It just never happens. I get as much recognized as any random person gets recognized because of like his relatives and stuff. Like I said, I never get, so don't worry, it's just a one-time thing."
Really?
And that same evening, I was recognized like 4 times, and to end it all, just in front of the hotel, there was like a giant group of half-drunk people, and they all knew me, like all. It's like, and yeah, and we were laughing that day. Like I don't know what happened there in Croatia, and I don't know if it's some kind of Agadamaro thing or whatever.
Well,
but probably because I was recognized like so many times, but normally no, not so much.
The first day I was moving into this building, 3 days ago, a guy in the lobby recognized me.
But you didn't like that probably at all, no? You were like, all out again.
Right. So it's a mix. It's like it's fun. It's good. Like 90% positive. But last place I lived at, it was a guy in my local pharmacy. I mean, 2 minutes from my house, and it's not the same guy that broke in. But yeah, that is weird. That is definitely weird. And that's why we live where we live. That's why I've signed up for websites that delete all your information off of everything. So.
No, but I guess you might be like, very famous now with all these YouTube views. I don't know how these YouTube views work, and but these are just people who live there somewhere, right? I guess. I mean, I don't know the demographics and all that, but probably you are. Yeah. I mean, I for example don't know how famous is YouTuber with 1 million subscribers. Like it's hard for me to estimate like how famous is that. But yeah.
I don't know, but. For a parting one, somebody asked, like, I have my way of dealing with hate, and I always have, and it's pinning YouTube comments because I find them really funny. How do you deal with, I guess, like, hate or people criticizing the playing style? You have this... The meme of you being the guy who draws all the time was born because you drew every round of I don't know what year it was, but the candidates, right? And you're still like a top 5 on the fighting index. I've been, by the way, a victim of like randomly just saying, oh, Anish draws a lot. And then one day I was like, what am I doing? Like, why do I just
Yeah, I mean the good thing about the like the bad thing is that of course things like grow really fast online, like, and especially like the often not the good ones, yeah, like some kind of weird memes or unfriendly things or whatever can like go really.
Yeah, I know, especially in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, for sure. But the good thing is, I think, especially since it's mostly young generation, like they get bored with stuff very quickly, so then they move on at some point. So like it ends at some point. It kind of dies at some point, pretty much. So yeah, I mean, you just sort of. I remember one guy, one player, he got a very, very big PR blow online, a very big PR blow, and I thought it's going to be a huge scandal. And so I met him, and I was like, wow, like, how are you going to be, sort of, because I was friendly with him, and I just was like, well, this thing came out, and how are you going to be? And he's like, Ebola was online for 2 weeks. You think this is going to be longer? And 2 weeks later, nobody spoke about it. Nobody speaks about it now. He hasn't responded. He hasn't dealt with anything. It wasn't a big deal, like whatever, yeah, like not like a crime, But yeah, I mean, there are some very bad things you do that you get really punished for. Obviously, like whatever Me Too movements and all that. But all these sort of negative hype things, you probably experience that as well. It just dies at some point, doesn't it? It stays. I guess it stays around every now and then, but essentially that big thing just dies now.
Yeah. I mean, I have individuals who I've seen for months now, but it's generally
They will pop up. I mean, I also still see things every now and then, but they are individuals. It's no longer the mass thing that is there.
Yeah.
So usually, yeah, that's okay. And in general, when it comes to like criticism and so on, like I am really very attentive to my own chess, and I work so hard on trying to make myself better as a player, trying to become more dangerous for my opponents. I don't need other people to help me there. I am doing a lot of self-analysis, a lot of criticism of myself on my own. So I'm not too bothered by what other people say.
Yeah, there's not much groundbreaking stuff we can say to that. For me, it's very much the same. I find hate hilarious, but
can be funny. Depends how though. It can be funny.
Yeah, I always try to take the humor route, but that's just me. I mean, enough things in life are gonna wear you down, and the past week has been the best example of that. Like, I think I've thought I've had COVID multiple times this week, even though I'm vaccinated, just because of how completely exhausted I am. And I'm like, maybe it's just life. It's just stress, and so you can't let this random
there are many things to do about it. Like you can try to see the positive, you can try to ignore, you can try to meditate. But one good thing I think is also to relativate things and just compare and just realize that the kind of problems that you are dealing with, they're such luxury problems. You've got you can feed yourself, you're healthy, you have loving people around you, you're doing what you love, and obviously you'll have some problems, otherwise life is not life. But at the end of the day, it's really privileged where you are. So I think it's
I think that's a good note to end on. Anish, if there's something we didn't cover, let me know.
I think we did good. Sure. Thank you.
And I expect to see a good comment in the comment section, and it'll get pinned, and not because it's hateful, but because, I hopefully this was at least mildly thought-provoking, and you didn't have to answer some of the similar questions. But
no, I think it was fun. Always good talking to you.
And I don't actually have an outro, so I guess we can say goodbye for now, and then we will say goodbye separately when we hang up the call. So
sure.
Thank you, Anish. This was fun.